Well, hopefully win more than we lose, that's for sure. Yeah, you know what? We hadn't seen them since January, so I've been telling this to people time and time again. Like they've played some really good hockey over the last couple months. There's been a lot of movement there this year with the Canucks on both sides, and I think this is kind of they got their team now over the last month, and they've been a real tough opponent for everybody, not just us. So we're excited for the challenge. We're going to have to elevate some areas of our game, but everybody does this time of year if you want to win. So we're excited to get going.
What are you seeing from the guys right now? Are you seeing that excitement and that will to win right now?
Yeah, I think so. I think they're just sick of listening to me in practice too. So I think we gotta get on the ice and have some different competition and get to work.
Coach, last week we talked about Sutter and the influence he has currently. Clark Bishop's the only guy that's raised the Calder championship. How much will you guys lean on him that he's been through this experience?
Yeah, I think we've got some guys in that room who've played a lot of American Hockey League playoffs. We got some guys that have played in the National Hockey League playoffs. Obviously, Clark, is familiar with the championship and what it takes at this level. We've leaned on him all year for his leadership qualities, and he's through consistency in terms of his role and what he does for us here as a team over the last 3 or 4 months, he's been outstanding. And he's a playoff type player, so we'll be leaning on him in the dressing room and on the ice.
What's it like sort of taking over the arena a little bit now that the Flames are out? How's that feel for the team and for you?
Well, that's exciting. We haven't played a home game in like a month, so this will be big time tomorrow night for the guys. So we gotta have good energy. We've got to keep our emotions in check. That's playoff hockey. But we got to find our edge quickly and try to rally behind our fan base.
What's the biggest thing you've learned from last year's playoff run that you would hope your guys can apply for this year?
I think just important for the guys in the room that were with us last year and learning through their own experiences. Like, we had a lot of guys last year that had been with this organization for 2 or 3 years that hadn't played playoff hockey. They got 13 games under their belt last year. I think that Chicago series when we lost out taught us a lot of lessons. It's a fine line, the managing the game, managing your emotions, playing your game. I think that's something that hopefully guys can bring towards this year's playoffs. That we've got to be better in those areas.
Is there a noticeable confidence level difference considering obviously a guy like Dustin Wolf to a point where he was goalie of the year last year, but he's goalie of the year this year and MVP. Matthew Phillips continuing to score as well as he does. Jacob Pelletier and Walker Dewey being back. Is there a noticeable difference from last year's confidence to this year's?
I don't know. I mean, a little more turnover. I think the thing is, like, with Pelletier and Dewar, they were up in the NHL for 2 or 3 months this year, so that wasn't the case last year. Wolf's Wolf. I mean, he just tries to go out there and do his job, stop the next puck that hits him, and he's that's what he does for us. So I don't know if there's any difference. I don't look at it that way. It's a new team, a different team. We said that early in the year when our start wasn't very good. But this is playoff hockey. It's hogwash now at this point. We haven't won anything. They haven't won anything. Let's get to work.
What do you say to players in terms of how to manage emotions? Like, you're freaking out, you're super excited, there's tons of adrenaline. Like, is there a certain amount of screen time or time in bed to sleep? Or, like, how do you advise them on how to manage that?
Well, you got to have a short-term memory. I think, there's going to be mistakes made. Obviously, you want to limit those mistakes, but you don't have a lot of time to dwell on them. You got to get back to work. You got to have a good next shift. We want to have positive shifts as a team. I don't know, but I want our guys to play with emotion. I want us to play with edge. I'm an edgy and emotional guy myself, so I want our team to be that way. But we just got to make sure this time of year that, we're keeping it in check. We get rattled, we got to quickly reset and get back to our game.
What's the biggest thing that you notice about Pelletier and Dewar and the time that they spent here and coming back to you guys?
With Pelletier, his mouth never stops moving, I can tell you that, whether that's practice or in the dressing room. But that's him. I mean, our guys understand. He's played a lot of games with us the last couple of years. That's exciting to be around. And then Dewar's the same way. He's a character. I mean, he had a great hockey season. We're going to need him to get checked back in here quickly because he hasn't been around with us for a while. But those are two guys we're going to lean on here in the playoffs.
You mentioned playing with an edge and showing that emotion. When did you realize that way of going about things works for your coaching style with your guys and even in your playing career?
Well, we have a lot of character in our room. We got some veteran guys that have brought our young players along and kind of drug them into the fight. And, you can't play this game without emotion. I don't care who you are. I don't know, you know, top player, you know, bottom six player, you know, bottom pairing D. You got to play with emotion, compete. You got to win your battles. Some guys lean you shoulder to shoulder. Some guys strip the stick. Whatever the case may be, it works for you as a player. You got to bring it, especially this time of year, and we're going to need everybody in that dressing room to do that. And they might have to come out of their comfort zone a little bit.